Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be making a polymer clay flower pendant. It is really cute and I hope you are inspired to make your own. So here I'm just rolling out a white piece of polymer clay and we'll be using this for the base of the pendant. I rolled this out to be about 2 or 3 millimeters in thickness. And then I cut it out. I actually just rummaged through my recycle bin, grabbed the top off of a pepper container, and used that to cut it out. I'm actually filming at my cottage, so I didn't have all of my fancy supplies with me. So it just goes to show that you definitely don't need all the fancy tools to make something beautiful. Don't throw those scraps away, we'll be using them in just a bit. Just cleaning up the edges here. It's an organic piece, so you really don't need to have it perfectly symmetrical. I prefer it not to be. So grabbing a piece of parchment paper and the scrap piece of white clay, I am going to roll that out and use that for the petals of the daisy. I am going to add a little bit of mica powder to it, just a nice white shimmer to help it stand out when the piece is finished. Here I'm adding a little bit of iridescent white clay to my white matte clay, and that's going to help it give a nice shimmer as well. I believe I got this mica powder through Wish or AliExpress, either one of them. It wasn't very expensive, and there were 9 colors, I believe. Really pretty, sparkly, iridescent colors that I have used quite a bit, and clearly you can tell I put way too much on here when all you need really is just a tiny little bit. But I wanted lots of shine, so I went ahead and put lots on there and then just tapped it off. I rolled the clay out to about 1 millimeter in thickness, and then I'm going to cut out just little petal shape or leaf shapes for the daisy. Once you have them all cut out, use your finger or a ball stylus and flatten them out just a bit. Once we're done flattening them out, then I take my needle tool and carve in fairly lightly some vertical lines, just like you would see on the petal of a daisy. And once that is done, then you can pick each of them up and start shaping them into a petal form. And then we will be ready to attach them to the center flower. And next we slice off a piece of cadmium yellow for the center of the daisy. And as you can see, it's very sticky, and I just throw everything all over the place, keeping it organic. Your needle tool is perfect for picking these little pieces up and placing them onto the clay so that you don't wreck the shape of the petals. Next, I'm using my rubber tip tool to really push the petals down into that center yellow piece so that they don't fall off after I bake it. So now I'm going to use a small dotting tool to make a little bit of texture in the inside of the daisy. Now we take some cadmium yellow and a little bit of an orange mixture that I had previously made for another project. We're going to mix those together slightly for the petals of the sunflower. I don't have them mixed really well. I do want a little bit of a varying gradient color, but I'm just going to mix them together and they come out with a really pretty orangey yellow or yellow orange color. Sorry, I'm out of frame here. I have a very tiny space that I'm trying to work in, and my camera is actually sitting right to my left on top of a stool that I have sitting on the table. So I am trying to work around a tiny space, and sometimes I do get out of frame, so I do apologize for that. So here we are doing the same process, cutting some petals out. These ones are a little bit larger because this is a sunflower that we're making here. So here I'm just using the smallest ball stylus that I have to make the grooves in the sunflower. So now we take a piece of brown clay and we roll that out for the center of the sunflower. Now I could have just plopped another ball of brown clay in the center to finish it off, but we're going to give it a little bit more detail. So I'm rolling this out super thin, and I am going to be cutting about a bazillion little tiny dots of the brown clay, and we're going to be placing that with our needle tool in the center to make it look like the sunflower seeds. So now I'm going to show you how to make the tiny little roses. Taking a mixture of the deeper pink and white, I'm going to mix those up to just bring it up a little bit lighter. So once we're done mixing the colors, we're just going to roll it out, and it should be about the size of a pencil in diameter. And then we're going to cut the little rose petals. So again, these are organic, so cutting them a little bit thinner and not all equal will result in a much prettier, more natural looking rose. As you can see here, I have the ball stylus, and that is helping me to flatten those little pieces out. And then the last one, I take the piece on the ball stylus and I just kind of roll it onto itself. And this will be the center bud of the rose. Next, we take the little pieces and sort of shape them into a petal, and then we will attach it to the bud and slightly overlapping each time we put a new petal on. And there you have it, the first little rose. And now we'll make 2 more of these. We will attach them to the base and put a hole for the jump ring and add a little mica powder for some pretty eye-catching shimmer. And then we will bake at 275 degrees Fahrenheit for about an hour, and then we will apply some resin. Now it's time to add some leaves to fill in some of the spaces. This technique that I'm using here now is just you just twist the colors together and fold them around and twist them a little bit more until you get the correct variegated color that you're looking for. So I'm going to be having 2 types of leaves on here. One will be a variegated green and one will be a solid green. And with the variegated green ones, I am just going to form them into a leaf. And with the solid green ones, I will be actually shaping them into a teardrop and flattening them out, and then I'm going to be adding some detail with my needle tool. Here I'm just taking my needle tool and adding in some veins for some definition and to make the leaves a little more realistic looking. So for the little green leaves, I twist them into like a teardrop shape, and then I flatten them out and add the detail with the needle tool. Making the third and final rows, I'm just taking pink and white, mixing it together to make a lighter color for variation. Now I'm just going to take my dotting tool and make a hole where the jump ring is going to go through, and then I'm going to fill in that space a little bit more with a few more leaves. Now the fun begins with the mica powders. Using the mica powder on these pieces, it really sticks to it and just gives a whole different definition to the piece. It brings out all the details when you rub it across nice and softly, and I just think it gives it a lot more detail. And voila, we are done. Don't forget to leave me a comment. I'd love to hear what you have to say about this piece. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.